Female beauty standards have made dramatic changes throughout history, from the stout, fair woman of the ancient Greece period to the boyish figure of the Roaring Twenties. Beauty standards are ingrained in women at a young age and follow them into their adulthood. Since the beginning of time, art has been used to show the beauty standard at the time and what role a woman should be playing. Meeting the beauty standard indicates wealth, good health, and high social class. Due to the fact that much of a woman's worth is indicated by her outside appearance, women will go as far as getting surgery or changing their diet to keep up with their beauty. When discussing the different beauty standards throughout history, the Renaissance is often mentioned in comparison to today's society. So this begs the question, what were the key differences between the portrayal of Renaissance female beauty standards? Renaissance art is defined by classism, human form, perspective, and composition. The word itself is French for rebirth. This period represents the rebirth of European arts and sciences following the Middle Ages. This period lasted through the 14th, 15th, and 16th centuries. During the Renaissance, most women maintained the same roles as the Middle Ages, which were maintaining the household and taking care of the children. And during this time, a woman's worth was often linked to either God, her father, or her husband. Along with her at-home duties, there was also a great amount of pressure to maintain her physical appearance, as a woman's physical appearance represented the family and told much about her social class. With this, women would go to great lengths to achieve this, and this is shown a lot throughout artwork. The epitome of this prominent beauty standard during the Renaissance has to be The Birth of Venus by Sandro Botticelli. The woman in the center, Venus, has long blonde hair, small breasts, a long forehead, and pale skin. She resembles an ideal Renaissance woman. She is the main focus of the painting and represents the cultural shift from the Middle Ages to the Renaissance. While there are many differences between Renaissance beauty standards and today's beauty standards, one thing remains the same. Eurocentric beauty standards have always been idealized, i.e., blue eyes, fair skin, blonde hair. It seems with today's standards, people try to maintain their Eurocentric traits while simultaneously delving into more exotic traits. People will tan their skin and get lip fillers while also keeping their blue eyes and small nose. There's also a similarity in ideals, with women wanting to look more natural and not wanting to look like they got too much work done. Recently, there has been the trend of the clean girl look, where women are flaunting a no-makeup makeup look, meaning that they apply enough makeup to where they look pretty, but it doesn't look like they have layers of foundation and mascara on. Often, men and other people today will criticize women who put on too much makeup, and this was also seen back in the Renaissance. In Pietro Aretino's satire piece, he writes, "Women who cover themselves with makeup only make it clear to everyone that they are excessively anxious to be beautiful, whereas a truly beautiful woman shows no effort or anxiety to be beautiful." This idea of effortless beauty has transcended from the Renaissance to today. However, the women who don't meet the beauty standard aren't able to take part in this effortless look, and their attempts are criticized.
When moving into the 21st century, we can see that art shifts its focus to individuality and naturalness of the person. But with the involvement of modern media, there is still a wide variety of idealization that is exposed to almost everyone through social media, magazines, celebrities, and even through each other. Such a portrayal of women has changed over time, but what does not change is that the beauty standard always follows society's ideals and cultural norms of that period. While it might not be as specific as prehistoric art in Renaissance times, being more of a wide variety to body sizes and styles, they still exist to this day. Within the 1900s especially, each decade seemed to have a different type of idealization for a different female body. From the slim, elegant woman of the 1940s to the natural look of the 1950s, where pinup girls also began to grow popular, going up to the feminist movement that dominated through the 1960s and 70s. And once the contemporary art movement began, you start seeing all of these female artists using their own bodies in art to go against the normal idealization and voice the acceptance of the uniqueness in their bodies. There are so many famous artists like Cindy Sherman, Shirin Nishant, Kiki Smith, and many more that address such topics. Similarly to the Renaissance, within the 1950s, a rise of the pinup girls began. Photographs of these began around the time of World War II, with their purpose being a boost of morale to soldiers, and ultimately gaining attention with a more sexual reputation over the years. Pinup girls were usually of the average and everyday woman. They were shown through magazines and advertisements where they had the average height and weight, an hourglass figure, and usually posing in these pictures. Art critics never really considered pinup girls as traditional art, and were more seen as cliché illustrations in their eyes. But now, let's talk about how the beauty standard of modern times affects women past just artwork, and more specifically in social media. We can compare it back to similar standards of the Renaissance. Their beauty standards were simpler, where women considered beautiful had pale skin, rosy cheeks, blonde hair, and so forth. Now we are not limited to that type of beauty, and instead of being given these recipes that would allegedly give you this bleached blonde hair or whitening the face, you now have technology. Technology that people use to edit their photos and make themselves look different than how they really look. They use filters that can change their body shape, lighten their skin, or even change their facial features as well. It creates competition between people, and can strive some to attain these unrealistic beauty standards that some in those photos don't actually have. You see it everywhere. No matter where in time or in any artwork, there has always been some depiction of both men and women that has been considered beautiful for their time. And that still applies today. While it may not be as prominent in artworks as much as it was during times like the Renaissance, which portrayed the main quality of women being their physical appearance, the present now portrays body standards through social media. There will always be some form of beauty standards throughout the time that will influence how women are perceived, whether that's through paintings, magazines, or social media posts, and some might even encourage some to use unhealthy means to change their body to fit the so-called standard.